got quite a lot of people trickling in. This is exciting. I honestly didn't expect very many people to show up on a Friday. I mean, I'm ready for the weekend, a long weekend, but stoked that everybody else is here and ready to learn about some marketing. Right. I do believe I'm going to go ahead and get started. One more time for everybody in the back of the room, just in case you didn't hear this when you came in. I've made everybody speakers. That doesn't mean that you have to speak. It just means that if you have a question, you need to take yourself off of mute, and then you will be able to ask a question. So I'm just going through and making a couple of folks listeners or speakers as well. Great. Hello. It's lovely to see so many people. Again, it's Friday. We've got a holiday weekend. I did not expect so many folks to be so excited about learning about writing for marketing on a Friday, but here we are. Great. I'm excited that you're here. I'm just going to continue. You might see me pause. I'm just making people speakers. We're going to get things kicked off here in just a second. All right. Gosh, I'm so stoked. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So hi, I am Stephanie Toddy. I am the VP of Marketing for Radius Brokerage. I have been with the company for just over 3 months now, so I am brand new. I am brand new to Radius. I am brand new to the world of real estate, which makes you guys the subject matter experts and makes me just the person running the marketing. So it's really great to be here. I'm really excited. This is my first big room that I'm hosting, so I appreciate everybody being here today. I have about 12 years of experience working with startups, so pre-IPO businesses. I have worked in everything from pre-seed, like pre-series A, like very small, zero funding. I have worked all the way up into companies that have been with them as they got acquired. So I've been through that whole like growth of like tiny little organization into like larger, get acquired, everybody gets happy stage. The point is I really like working with startups because we are small and we are scrappy. And I feel like in the past 3 months, that's a theme that I've heard from agents that I've spoken to, as well as like everybody is still is trying to figure some things out, is trying to figure out how to execute and then execute at scale. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of these marketing, high level like marketing rooms. So watch your rooms thread for that. Watch the digest that we sent out on the weekends for upcoming rooms. I know we've got one coming up on social media. We're going to do one on converting leads and nurturing leads. So that's just something that's just some rooms to come. But today, what are we talking about? Writing. So my background is in content marketing. I've been a writer since I was a little kid. I got my first journal when I was 6. And once I got into marketing, it became clear very early on that the writing part of marketing was my strength. So we're going to go through, this is going to be super high level, but you are going to come away with actual action items, things that you can do today to make yourself a better writer for marketing. We're going to talk about all types of writing, long form, short form, everything in between. So let's dig in. Let's get into it. So this is our agenda for today. Knowing our audience. Providing value. I'm not going to read everything on the slide. It's just here for your benefit. But the first one is really a big one. Understanding your audience and what they need is key to being a successful writer or marketer in general, right? So let's dig into that one. The who and the why before we write anything. And this doesn't mean whether we're talking about writing a blog post, writing a research paper, writing a tweet. When we are marketing our business, our brand, ourselves, our products, understanding who we're talking to and why they should listen or what they need to hear is imperative. And a lot of people do this kind of off the cuff, but you understand that you are writing to home buyers or writing to home sellers. But what I want everybody to really think about is formalizing that process a little bit. And that doesn't mean you have to have a huge spreadsheet and really dig into every single message or every single statement you want your audience to understand. But really just having a moment where you think, okay, this is my general audience. These are the different portions of my audience that I market to or I want to follow me and learn from me. And then these are the very specific pain points that they're experiencing. And this is how I can help solve them. That's really marketing in a nutshell, right? Is understanding who we're talking to, understanding what problem they have, and then understanding what message you need to put in front of them to make them understand that you can solve that problem for them. So for you, this might look like this, right? You are marketing to home buyers, and then underneath home buyers, you're going to have several different types of home buyers, right? First-time home buyers, vacation home buyers, there's probably a bunch of them. And then underneath that, they're going to have pain points. So first-time home buyers have different pain points than vacation home buyers. And then understanding how you can help solve each one of those pain points, that's the message. That's what you're putting out into the ether, and that's what you want to convey to your audience. So this is a really good exercise. And guys, again, you don't have to make this super formal, but just sometimes writing this down. When I put this slide together, I had to get into your head and I had to think, okay, I'm a real estate agent. Who am I selling to? Who am I marketing to? What are going to be the different groups? Okay, those different groups have different needs. What do they need to hear about? What are they going to want in the content that I'm putting in front of them? So this is kind of just a really nice exercise in if I'm going to start an email campaign, what are the different beats that I want to hit in the emails that I'm sending out? If I'm going to put together social posts for the next month, who am I talking to? What do they want to learn about? What do I need to say? That's what this exercise is all about. So the who and the why is super important. That's your foundation. Now let's dig in to the actual, what are we going to say to them? Remember, it's about them. It's not about you. The best marketers are writing for their audience, not for themselves, not for their brand, not for their product. All marketers are guilty of instilling a little bit of them and their products and services into it. But when you are trying to hook people, if you make whatever language you're crafting about your audience and not about you, your product, your service, your brand, you are always going to be more successful. So this is one of my favorite quotes, is pathological empathy. Having pathological empathy in everything you write about, everything you do, is being completely empathetic to the plight of your audience. That's going to help you craft a more engaging and more meaningful message. Empathy for the client experience should be at the root of all of your content. And that, again, guys, it does not matter if we're talking about a tweet, 140 characters, or whether we are talking about a email or a blog post, an article, a research paper, getting into putting yourselves in their shoes, thinking about what they need to hear. That is super, super, super important. All right. Sorry, I'm just making people speakers in case you have questions. Again, if anybody has questions, please stop me. This isn't a lecture. This should be a conversation. Let me just check to make sure everybody is. Oh, no, I've got a couple more people. Hold on just a second. Great. I think I got everybody. Okay. So go back to your audience. What problems do they have? I'm going after first-time home buyers. What are some of the problems that first-time home buyers have? What are those pain points? What are they agonizing about? What are they Googling? What questions they have? You guys if you work with first-time home buyers, talk to them. And this is a big thing. Like, I get marketers in general, we tend to maybe not want to talk to our audiences. It's uncomfortable, but you guys are real estate agents. You talk to your clients all the time. It's part of your job. Use that information. Like if you know that you're going after first-time home buyers to create leads in that specific group, then when you have one on the phone, use that information. That's how you should be crafting your message. What do they always ask you? What problems do they always have? What are always the first things that you're going to have to discuss with them to make them successful throughout the entire process? Develop that pathological empathy, and then share that story. We'll talk about this a little bit later in the presentation, but the story is always, always, always going to be what gets your audience to really engage with you and to remember you. Not just stats. And a lot of people will say, like, stats are a great hook, and they are. Stats are good. But people don't tend to remember stats. We'll talk about one of my favorite books that really doubles down on that. But stats grab your attention. 82% of first-time home buyers make this mistake. Yes. But if once they click into that piece of content, if you're sharing stories about the mistake, that's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to latch on to. People remember stories. So both can be equally important, but the story is what's really going to grab them. So and when you're writing, try and make sure that there are stories involved in your writing. Okay. Now, this is where I lose a lot of folks because, it doesn't matter what channel you're using or you're writing for, whether it's a tweet, whether it's an email, whether it's a blog post, an Instagram post, a brochure, a flyer, whatever. I hear a lot, I don't know what to write about, or I don't necessarily think that I am important enough to share this information, or I'm not a thought leader. Baloney. You're a thought leader. Repeat after me. I am a subject matter expert. You are all SMEs. Regardless of what you're posting and where you're posting it, you are a subject matter expert in whoever you are talking to. You are professionals. You've been doing this for years. Even if you haven't been doing it for years, even if you are brand new, you are a subject matter expert, and you have your pathological empathy, and you can put that information out there, and you should put that information out there. What are the problems? How are you going to solve them? Be that hero for your audience. And that's your message, right? You are the subject matter expert. You are going to be their hero. No tip or idea is too small. This whole presentation is a really good example of that. I mean, I've been doing this for over 12 years ish now, and I think 35 people registered for this very high level. Like, and nothing that I'm sharing to me in this presentation is groundbreaking or earth shattering. But you guys showed up. That to me says that, like, yeah, people still need to know about this. And it's the same way for you. So when you're thinking about, like, gosh, how do I create content? How do I put together a social campaign? This is too elementary. Nobody's going to care about this. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. They absolutely will. You are a subject matter expert. Own that. And then also remember to cite your sources when you need be. Put it all out there. But if it's not like a you came up with this idea, make sure you cite your sources. That's really, really important. People will take you more seriously if you cite your sources and are honest about, like, hey, this is a really important piece of information. It came from here. Make sure you cite those sources. Be your brand. This is a really big one. And folks think that writing is not brand, that your logo, that your colors, that the font you pick, that your website, like, they think the visuals are the branding, but writing is a really important of your overall brand as well. And it's really important that we double down on this. How you write, your tone, your word choice, whether or not you use emojis or not, like, these are all parts of you crafting your brand. And so your logo might be beautiful, but if your logo is super formal, and then you have a very informal way of writing, there's some discrepancy there, and those things don't match up. So remember, every single portion, every single experience that your audience has with you, whether it's visual, whether it's writing, whether it's a video, whatever it is, all of that is your brand together. Did somebody have a question? I think I heard somebody come off mute. No. Okay, great. We're gonna dig into this a little bit more now. All right. So the sentences in pink is something I plucked off of a blog post about tips for home buyers. So the sentences in pink is just the sentence I picked, and then I've rewritten it in 3 different tones. All right. So, like, number 1, super formal. In order to create the most efficient and effective home visiting process possible, consider inserting virtual walkthroughs into the beginning of your shopping cadence. This will allow blah, blah, blah. This is very formal. It's wordy. I've got a lot of big words in there. This speaks to a more formal, educated, older type of audience, right? And if that's who you're marketing to, awesome. That's probably the tone you want to go with, right? One level down from that, start by creating your dance card. Virtual walkthroughs help make sure that the homes you visit are checking all of your must-haves before you devote a whole trip to them. A little bit less formal, a little bit more conversational, smaller words, shorter sentences. We've got quotes in there, a little bit less formal. This is like normal, like, this is how I would talk to somebody maybe. And then the last one is super casual. Y'all, work smarter, not harder. Virtual walkthroughs weed out the trash emoji, allowing you to get to the gift emoji faster. This is super down to earth. It's super social media. It's super now, fast, fun, casual. None of these are right and none of these are wrong. It depends. How you use them depends on a couple of different things. Who is your audience? Are you a luxury brand selling $50 million homes? You're probably not going to use example number 3, right? So think about who you're talking to, who you're selling to, and then also think about what platform you're on. And I think that actually is at the end of this presentation. It should be the next slide, but we're going to see. It's not. Sorry. I should have put that in the next one. Who is your Doris? This is my next step. And this, check out the citation in the bottom right-hand corner. This is not my statement. This is not my idea. This is something that I read in a book that I'm going to share with you guys at the end of the presentation that has stuck with me for years. This is from one of my superheroes. Her name is Anne Handley, and she is a writer, a content marketer by trade. And this is in her book and on her newsletter. This is something that she's always really doubled down on. Who is your Doris? So regardless of what you're writing or who you're writing to, 10 people, 10,000 people, 110,000 people, it doesn't matter. Write to one person. Warren Buffett's annual letter to his shareholders goes out to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, but he writes it to one person. He literally writes a letter to his sister Doris. And she's smart, but she's also not an investor. So she doesn't want to deal with all the financial jargon. So think about that when you're writing. If you need somewhere to start to kind of like get yourself into a place where you sift through all the crap. Sometimes when you're writing to 10,000 people, that can be difficult. Write to one person, pick one person, and try to pick one person that is the same person consistently. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's that client that you had in your first year of being an agent that just really stuck with you and asked all the really hard questions and made you uncomfortable. Maybe that's the person that you're writing to. Pick one person, and when you write your content, write it to the same person all the time. Here we go. Here's my platform slide. Sorry, I should have, these two were mixed up. So please mind the gap, the platform. I don't know if anybody gets that joke, but in London, anyway, it doesn't matter. Please mind the gap. Mind your platform. Think about where you're writing, right? So there's this whole spectrum of what you're writing and where you're putting the writing that you're doing. Maybe it's long form, right? Like a research paper, like a book. Email you're writing a book. I don't know. Shorter form, so like brochures, maybe a blog post if it's a super short one. Emails, couple sentences. Like a marketing email should be no longer than like 5-ish sentences with some bullet points. Maybe social media could be longer depending on what platform you're on. Instagram is probably not going to be as long as maybe a LinkedIn post. SMS, super short, right? So you've got most formal to least formal based off of the platform. And then also you have to base it off, again, your audience. Who are we speaking to? So consider all of these things together when you are deciding whether or not you want to, like how you're going to write, what you're going to include, emojis, no emojis, long words, short words, long sentences, paragraphs, bullet points. Think about that as well. Okay. Let's back it up a little bit. I want to kind of dig in. I made everybody a speaker. Questions thus far. I think that's the bulk of the Let me just make sure before I get to the good stuff. Well, we can talk about the good stuff, but are there any questions? This is super high level stuff, guys, but any questions so far about anything that we've covered? Resounding silence. I know it takes a second to get off of mute. Okay, so while you're thinking about questions, if you have any questions, here are my recommendations. For general writing for marketing, I have both of these books literally sitting right here. Everybody, this is the first volume. I have the second volume up there. Anne Handley is a superhero. She is the most down-to-earth, relatable marketer I have ever read, met. She's a wonderful human being in general. She has a fantastic newsletter that comes out every bi-weekly on Sunday mornings. It's like one of those emails that I will always read regardless of what I'm doing. And the fact that it's a Sunday is weird that's when she sends it, but it's great. It's super easy to read, super easy to digest. She's fantastic. AnnHanley.com/newsletter. This is her book. I think it's like $15 on Amazon. It's super cheap. It's very easy to read, very short chapters. Highly recommend it. The newsletter is free. The book is like $15, I think. Let's talk about storytelling a little bit. I promised you that we would do this. So this is actually one of those, this book is a marketing ploy. This book was put out by the founders of a software company called Contently, which is a content marketing platform. So they wrote a book about storytelling, about content marketing, and then they use that to market their software, which is genius and is something that a lot of SaaS companies have been doing lately. So I got this book for free, I think, at a content marketing conference in 2018, 2019, something like this. This book is like, I think it's like $17 on Amazon if you want the actual hardback, but it's free on both Kindle and on Audible. It's free. It is so good, and is so helpful about kind of coaching you through how to use storytelling to market your business or your product or your services. Taking client stories and making them your marketing content, and not just like content marketing like blog posts or case studies or something like that, but tweets, Instagram stories. Why storytelling is so adaptable to different channels and different markets, and also how it really helps more engagement and conversion too. So when you are putting out a tweet and you are like, why am I doing all of this social media? What's my return on investment? Why am I spending all this time doing it? This is a really good book, or a good read for that. And it's a very short read too. I think it took me like a day and a half to read it. So these are my two really big suggestions if you just really want like a crash course in like writing for marketing and storytelling for marketing. Those are my big suggestions. But let's just go back really quickly to our agenda. So knowing your audience. Okay, so again, make sure that you are writing with a purpose, that you are writing to your specific audience, that you're using that empathy that we talked about, pathological empathy, and that everything that you put out there is in the name of value for them, helping them, you being the hero, providing that value. Be your brand. Everything that you write is your brand. It's not just your logo. It's not just your font colors, your font or your colors. It is everything that you put out into the ether, and your writing is included in that. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure that that's who you want, that writing is what you want to convey your brand as. Write to one person. If it's really overwhelming for you to think about writing an email and sending it to 500 people and making sure that all 500 people are going to be wowed, don't write to 500 people. Write to one person. Write that email to one person. Write that Instagram post to one person. Write that brochure to one person. Think about what they would need to hear in order for you to convince them that they need your product or service. Mind the platform. Make sure that you are remembering where you are, how somebody is going to ingest the content, and that the tone and the messaging and the content match the platform that you're on. That's it. That is the presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my biggest tips and tricks. Those are all things that you can go and you can start working on today. I'm going to do another one of these rooms, I think week after next. So stay tuned. If you have suggestions, I should have put my email address on this. Hold on just a second. Let me just write it right here so everybody can see it. Stephanie Toddy at radiusagent.com. That's me. If you have questions and you don't want to take take yourself off the mic right now. If you have questions, you can email me. If you have suggestions, like what do you want to hear about next? I'm going to be doing these a lot. So if you something that you very specifically would like to learn about marketing, email me, let me know. I would love your feedback. What else can I or my team help with? All right, that's it. And if there's no other questions, if nobody wants to come off mute, that's fantastic. I hope everybody has a really, really great day and a nice long weekend, holiday weekend. Thanks so much.